everybody wants to live in a village, but nobody wants to be a villager, because all of the like challenging, difficult, annoying aspects of that means like your space becomes a community space when you need it to, and you can close it off. But like, I don't know, people want to live in their like insular little bubbles and not do anything outside of that. But like your wife learning how to do flooring means that like there's a non-zero chance somebody's gonna be like, hey, I really need help, I need your opinion on this. And that art and that labor that she put into it, she can just help elsewhere, versus like, oh no, somebody built my house for me, I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah, that's more me. Like I do I do computer work. I'm not that handy, but now AI is like just replacing that so rapidly, where I'm like, we might be doing some kind of more blue collar, do it with your hands, fix the wood and saw it shit here in a few years, because like the drones aren't coming for that anytime soon.
I don't know, you say that, but I work in manufacturing, and so much of that kind of thing is like, it is not feasibly automated, but they're still trying. And the same thing with AI. So I have to apologize. I did spend like 2 years off and on training large language models, because it was something that is super interesting to me, because the way that they sell AI is that it functions, but it doesn't, right? Like, yes, AI is kind of scraping data off of the internet and generating, but like training a large language model is a function of like 9 people doing shitty menial tasks over and over again. So like somebody comes to me and they say, here's a demographic, here's the question I want you to ask, and here's why I want you to be asking the question. And then I ask the question, so I type the prompt, and then another person answers the prompt based on information that they personally have to Google and then, you know, aggregate into a usable summary. And then somebody else goes in, corrects it, and cites the sources if they can back those up. And then the next person corrects all of it. And like, without all of those people doing that thousands of times a day, large language models aren't actually functioning at all, because they can't steal you typing in real time, why big boob, to like make a summary, an AI summary for that. Somebody has to go, a 12-year-old boy in Iowa is going to Google why boob.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's really close to what I do too, and that might be more my job. It's like writing prompts and training large language models. I mean, that's crazy that you know so much about that. I thought you would have to be like, do what I do to even like know what LLM stands for. But I guess they go around and they're like, you're a specialist in this domain, so we want the LLM to know that. So
it's worse than that. Yeah. It's a company called Remote Tasks, and you sign up and they pay you like 92 cents per prompt or per answer or per grammatical correction, and you do hundreds of them a day. And you are not anybody. You don't have to have an expertise in anything. You're just some dude who's like, I have 45 minutes a day to kill. I can probably do 5 of these. And that's it. And that's how I got into it. And I ended up becoming more invested in it, because I was like, I wanted to see behind the curtain, because AI isn't a product. AI is a vibe. And that's how they're leveraging like stock market trades on it, because they're like, well, one day it could do this, and isn't that really cool? And then people are like, yeah, we want to give you more money so we can maybe do that. But like, as it stands right now, that's not true. And
it's a bubble. Yeah. I mean, you don't think it, I mean, I'm like 50-50 on whether it's going to be able to literally outthink and just do whatever it wants, or it is kind of a fad. It is kind of like, we're overhyping it right now, but I don't know. I'm kind of like 50-50. I just think it's so unprecedented. Like,
I mean, I agree, but the way that it functions is that specifically it still requires so much intentional human interaction that if we let it go right now, even if it talked about having feelings, it doesn't have feelings. It doesn't have...
Just copying us. It's like... fancy autocomplete is the way it was explained to me. It's like really fancy autocomplete. Like if you send it a thought, it like can finish that.
Yeah.
And then it adds a little randomness each time. So it's like, it feels, so you never get the same exact answer. You get similar, but it's like a human would always say it a little different.
It's like talking to the president of your company. He's using corporate jargon to a degree that he's not saying anything at all, but everyone in the room seems really hyped up about it, because he's saying a lot of words with like enthusiasm and like a good like hand movement, and you're like, hell yeah, and then 30 minutes later you're like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, I don't remember one single sentence.
No, I was brainwashed. But that's AI right now, where it's like it's answering your questions, but like using like non-speak. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's a really good question. How can we help you with that? And it's like,
yeah, I mean, I hope that's true. I really hope we're just in the middle of it. And it's like every few weeks or months, it's like changing what I do. So it's like, we'll know later, unless it just keeps, it feels like it can't keep changing this fast forever. But it's like, I kind of hope it's overhyped, because I think we have enough technology. I think we actually like peaked like a while back, you know, like it's like every time you get some new thing, it's just like, oh, this phone's going to make it. Now it's an alarm clock and the answering machine, and it's going to save it. It's just like, no, it just somehow it just always gets busier and crazier with each thing. So now with AI, it feels that way too. Like it's doing the work, but then now I'm like scared I'm going to fall behind every month, you know? Like I wish I could just learn how to be a blacksmith, and like that's the cool thing about like the physical trades. It's like you can learn it and maybe just do it for 30 years. There's some changes, but my shit changes like every week now, and I'm like, I'm getting old.
I think with the mass exodus of like millennials and like older Gen Z, I think AI is going to slow down a lot, because they need that data to stay like pertinent within like IT fields and things like that. Is because if there's not a millennial training the large language model by like raging out on the internet against conservatives or vice versa or whatever, there's nothing to pull from anymore. And so I think as they're like leaving the internet, AI slows down significantly. And I've met probably 40 people just this year alone, and I know Asheville's a bubble, whatever, but that only have flip phones, you know, that are
I love it. My 14-year-old does not want a smartphone, you know. My 10-year-old really wants a smartphone, but my 14-year-old's like conscientious objector. She's like, I see them all doing it, and like I don't want to be a zombie like that. Which is cool, but then it's also like I feel like she gets maybe excluded sometimes too, because she's not willing to do that.
That builds character, though.
Yeah.
Like being part of the out group when you're in high school sets you up for a more reasonable expectation of what social dynamics look like as an adult, and also give you better discernment in building and maintaining those relationships, as opposed to like constantly seeking the validation of the people that are the loudest and funniest in the room, and being better equipped to make better choices so you don't get like sucked into a cult of personality.
Yeah, I love that. I'm still trying to figure that out as an adult.
Yeah, because that was the status quo for us forever, where it was like you're just not allowed to not want to be the most popular kid because you've got an uncle or like your dad's best friend's like, oh, high school was the best years of my life.
Yeah. I mean, high school was better than, we called it junior high back in the day, but it was definitely better. It was like really hit rock bottom. And like so high school wasn't that bad for me personally. Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but like it wasn't
great. No, nor was college. I felt like in college I was like, I guess this is the best years. That's how I felt about that. Like I'd heard like it was going to be amazing, and I was like, this is weird. Everybody likes football and is in a fraternity.
I didn't go. I got knocked up instead. I went to the school of hard knocks.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got a kid in high school now?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah. Funny enough, my son is older than your 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I waited till,
a reasonable age.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, maybe you started, like, too young or younger, but, I mean, now the people that, like, I was in my 30s, so people in their 20s, they're my age now, and their kids are, like, gone, you know, and they're, like, still, like, they can still, like, go travel or do whatever. I feel like I'm starting to get tired and old and, like...
I'm gonna pose it to you, and I'm gonna sound so pretentious when I say this, but if you reframe the purpose of parenting around raising a kind, loving, intelligent, capable human being who's independent but also fosters loving relationships with their peers, then the purpose of parenting is you need to be the best version of yourself, and no one is the best version of themselves in their 20s. Nobody.
Totally. Yeah, I like that. I mean, but there's still so much shame with all the times I haven't been. All the times I've modeled bad behavior for my kids. I think I've done a pretty good job, but this, like, the times that I haven't, I don't think I'll ever forgive myself for those times.
Oh God, yeah. No. But
It's like, it is making me better, you know? Like, I mean, it's like, I really believe like your kids are sent here to like specifically show you your own bullshit. But that's just really hard.
They're all little mirrors, except for they're all little sentient mirrors. But also imagine every time you failed as a parent, but like as a 19-year-old, like going back and like your fucking frontal lobe isn't fully developed. You're reparenting yourself from your own trauma, and you're parenting a sentient being that's going to grow up with all these wounds. Like one time my son was having a meltdown. I was in my early 20s. I think he was like 5 or 6. And he was having a meltdown. I was very overstimulated. We were in a grocery store. It was too much. They had just rebuilt a mega Ingalls from a tiny Ingalls. And he was like screaming, and he threw himself on the floor. And I picked him up and I was like, hey, dude, every tool that I've ever been given is to scream or hit. And I don't want to do that. But in order for me not to get to a place where that's my only option in my brain, I need you to take a couple deep breaths with me, and then we can just walk out of this Ingalls and leave everything in this cart here. But because I had to pick him up and tell him, hey, dude, I really want to hit you right now, but I know that's wrong. Other people are like, oh, that's really inappropriate. But like, you're going home and you're going to spank your kids. I'm not going to hit my kid because I want to do better. But I have to tell him that I don't have the tools for this, because I'm talking to 6-year-old Bear and 6-year-old Ringo and 24-year-old not fully developed mom all in the same conversation, and having to like navigate that all by myself, and then be like, hope I didn't fuck you up, kid. Oops.
You can't not, though, right? You can't not fuck him up.
I never dropped him.
Yeah.
I never dropped my kid.
Yeah, I never dropped my kid or hit him or anything like that. I think it's like the times that they spill a glass of water and I overreact, like those are going to add up and ruin, like potentially ruin, like make them like, I guess there's a thing now that, or a lot of kids are like breaking contact, you know, like they'll grow up and
I'm no contact with both of my parents.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have good reasons, you know. I don't want to give my kids good reasons.
I think it's like apologizing. I think that's it. That's the whole
totally
breadth of it.
And I'm doing that. That's like one thing I know I'm like doing way better at. It's like, hey, I lost my shit. I'm sorry. That was wrong. The way I got upset with you. No parent or no authority figure ever said that to me my whole childhood.
Well, because we were meant to accept absolute authority as absolute truth. And even when they were wrong, you're wrong for pointing it out more than they are for that behavior, because you're not supposed to question them. So even you recognizing that there was a mistake or a flaw or something that was like fundamentally like cruel or hurtful, that they recognized, was that you pointing it out is the bigger deal than them doing it to you. And so like you're just saying you're sorry to your kid and changed behavior to the best of your ability, and like being emotionally honest with your kids about what your cap is and like what you're capable of providing them in that moment, to say, hey, your behavior is incredibly triggering, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because I am 13 again when you behave this way, and I'm trying not to be my dad when I was 13, so that when you behave this way, which is reasonable for your age, I don't want to behave like my dad, but that's the only thing that I have modeled for me, so I gotta take a second to process that before I can talk to you about why what happened wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you did a good job. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've heard that from some like parents that started as a teenager and they like made it work, that like you really have to get your shit together so much, and it's almost like, not that you're like the same age, but you're kind of close, like maybe there's something that is beneficial about that, where you're not like if you wait too long and you're like, you know, 60 and you have a kid, it's like you can't even like reach them like culturally. So maybe there's some kind of benefit there where you're like, your brain's still kind of squishy when you're like trying to like, I gotta figure this shit out.
It's crazy to think that my son will remember being my age, like, and not like as an adult, but in 4 years. Like, my son will remember being 19, and he will remember being the age that I was when he was born.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
He'll remember me.
Almost the age you were. That's insane.
he has memories sometimes when he'll talk about being 2 or 3 years old. I was 21, so he'll remember me as a 21-year-old.
Yeah,
like that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Right? Like
yeah.
I don't want anyone to remember me as a 21-year-old, especially not someone I was responsible for.
Yeah, I see pictures of my parents when they're 21. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Oh, thank God you didn't have me then. Yeah. I'm lucky. He's a super smart, funny kid. He made a post not long ago. He's one of those kids that he only has like 2 Instagram posts. He'll post something and then delete it. And then like, not as a story, but like an actual like post. But he has a couple, mostly him and his friends. But then he has one, it's like an anti-flock post where he's like, hey, people are dying and this administration is killing people. And now we're creating a surveillance state. And I think it's important for those of you who can vote to do so. And those of you who can show up to these things and be listened to should, because I care about this, but I'm a kid and I can't be the only one that cares about it because no one's going to listen to me. And I was like,
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a cool kid.
Where did you learn that?
Not his blue hair, Mom, I can tell you that. He was roasting Nazis a couple of weeks ago. Like I walked by his bedroom. He didn't know I was there. I promise. He has headphones on and he was playing Call of Duty with his friends. And he was like, I'm not saying being a neo-Nazi is like worse than being a Nazi, but it definitely makes way less sense.
Oh, it's worse. I think it's worse, you know, because back then it's like the first time you're like, I don't know, everybody's at the thing, you know.
Well, everybody's got
and
pitchforks.
then now it's like, all right, we've had a lot of time. There's
so many books about this.
Like you could have been like, I didn't know there's camps. I was just going to get the buffet thing.
Yeah, but
they just had me in a tower just watching the thing. I didn't know.
Yeah, but now they're using that same like plausible deniability by calling themselves something different. So before they were calling themselves Nazis, but now they're calling themselves race realists, and like they're circumventing being a Nazi by like being something else. And like the kids these days are like so perceptive of it and they're so like good at it. But they spent like probably 45 minutes just like making fun of Nazis and like calling them like dorks and nerds. And they were like, Nick Fuentes is short and he's got a stupid voice and his Adam's apple's really little. And I was just like Jesus.
Little Adam's apple. That's a funny detail. I do think the original Nazis were real bad, by the way. I think that
to clarify,
I think that's obvious. Try to sprinkle little jokes in.
Little PSA for everybody out there: Nazis bad, hate them.
Yeah, you seem like you're pretty like socially,
Oh God, I'm so annoying.
Aware with because I was like kind of getting ready for this, and I was just looking at I looked at like a few things online. And it was interesting to me because I've seen you do stand-up, a bunch. I mean, I think you were doing it back when I started, but then you took a while off. But you'd still come out sometimes, but you wouldn't perform.
Yep.
And then I feel like your posts are like there's it's like two sides. Like your posts are kind of like written is like more vulnerable almost, but then the stage is like more like terrifying.
I'm
ferocious.
Beating people over the head with the same sentiment, just more aggression.
Yeah, more aggression.
Yeah, I am a chihuahua or a cat. Like I have my people that I really like and I'm really cool in that environment, but like outside of that, like it's violence immediately all the time.
Well, you mean the post is more like this is for my like my audience, like people that know me, and if you're on a stage, because like the odd is still, I think it's probably your people. I mean, Third Room on Wednesdays is like more of a who knows who's going to be in town. But I feel like it's still though Third Room is like less mainstream than the other disclaimer rooms. Like it's like it's more weird. It's kind of like, were you there on this Wednesday when the lady got up with the baby and she was like, this is my 6th kid and we're looking for a new divine masculine, and if you'd like to audition, she had a mask. It was crazy. I was like, it feels like old Asheville to me. Like when I moved to Asheville, it was very hippie and weird.
Oh, God,
and then it almost got like too hip or, mainstream. And I feel like Third Room is almost going back to like, maybe it's the Jubilee vibes, but it's like weird.
I have a confession.
What's that?
I fucking hate hippies. I do. I can't like get out of my face, with your like weird bioessentialism and your raw milk and your anti-vax stuff. I fucking hate a hippie. But
I mean, that's probably like working with blue collar folks. It's like,
we have something in common.
Like, I mean, even if I disagree with like a lot of the blue collar culture, it's like, it feels pretty like direct and like unpretentious and like
Autistic.
true to the heart. Yeah, I mean, it's like even if it's like not my taste, like there's something endearing about it. I don't know if that's what you mean. Like hippies can be so far up their own ass. I think liberals can too. And
Yeah, that's why I hate being called a liberal. I am not like.
Yeah. And I don't even really use those words on anyone in particular. It's just like
I do as a slur.
Yeah, you just try to speak, and as soon as you put labels like that on it, it's like it's not it's not the end all be all. Or it's hard to talk about like abstract things, and it's helpful to use those words, but yeah.
I think the way that like language shifts, people are so stuck on the way that they understood a word when they were a kid. Like my favorite one recently, it's like devastating to my lexicon because I use it all of the time, but it's the word goon. It does not mean the same thing that it meant when I was a kid.
Is goon bad now? Is it like a slur now or something?
Goon means to furiously masturbate now.
Okay. Nice.
And a gooner is a person who does that.
Is this recent?
Within the last like year and a half. Okay. Yeah, I don't think your daughters would come home and be like, Dad, do you know what gooning is?
Yeah.
I only know it because like I'm chronically online, and one of the reasons I'm chronically online is because I have a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, 6-foot, cishet white son that could very easily get swept up in internet culture and end up an incel, like threatening people on the internet and like doing weird shit and growing out a neck beard, and I don't want that. So we have to have conversations, and I have to know what I'm talking about.
Neck beard.
Yeah.
I like how there's always that one detail.
Have you ever seen them where it's like a dude whose facial hair is really patchy and it doesn't connect and it's very puby on the face, but then very full and luscious just here,
so you
like
don't
a
shave
goat?
the neck because that's where it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why even grow a beard?
Yeah.
I only have a beard because I don't have like as much hair on my head now.
Yeah, you're like trading it.
Yeah, if you got it up there, just go clean shaven.
Honestly,
boyish face, like a mop of hair.
It's the homoeroticism of like the alpha male concept of like I must perform masculinity by any means necessary, even if it makes me look stupid and dumb, and I hate it. But like a beard is the traditional picture of rugged masculinity, which men have convinced themselves is what women want beyond anything else, like the Hugh Jackman types and stuff like that, and that if they're not phenotypically aesthetically attractive, like with a Ryan Reynolds jawline, then they have to have a beard because it's the push-up bra of the face. So you have to beard fish.
I feel that way about my face a little. Yeah, shave the beard is just like the chin is just like a white, There's like no lines. It's just like there's like a mouth just on pale.
As a chinless person myself, I really wish I could grow a beard, so I'm very jealous. But beards are fine. They're like nondescript. Sometimes someone has a beard for so long that it just like I cease to recognize it, and I think you're one of those people where it's like I don't think of you as a bearded person when I describe you. I'm not like Ryan Cox, the guy with the beard.
Got the beard. Yeah, I feel like in this town, especially, like in order to be the guy with the beard, you need like a lot of beard. You gotta have like ZZ Top beard.
Even then, every maintenance tech that I work with at my job right now, all of them have beards to their belly buttons and like stinky mustaches that have like bleached from like Mountain Dew consumption. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's like if I was like the one with the beard, I would have to describe in detail what is in the beard currently to differentiate between them.
Yeah. I think it's cool that you live in that world. I mean, that as far as like all the, the Nazis coming back and the incels, like I almost feel like people just getting siloed and not mixing is like one of my biggest fears is that like I do think that most people are pretty cool and we actually do agree on like 90% of the stuff, but on the online just makes it all, rage baity. I mean, I'm not saying anything new, but like you can almost, it's like more than ever, you can just kind of get siloed. You don't get together and talk to your neighbors. So it's like you just find the people that have the same ideas as you. And I think it's like, it's really cool that you're working with those dudes. And you probably have like more in common with them than you don't, that you disagree about. It's like, it doesn't all have to be about like the 3 topics that we fight over?
I don't know. A coworker of mine brought up Harry Potter recently, and I had to like fight the urge to just harpy screech at him about it, because him and all of his buddies have Lord of the Rings nicknames that somebody wrote in this like beautiful like Tolkien script, and they're
Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this on.
They're Faramir, Boromir, like whatever, right? And so it's all written on this piece of tape that's on their lockers, and it's all very like clear. And I was walking by, and he was like, "Yeah, I like Harry Potter." I was like, "What are you, fucking 12? Like what? You like right now as an adult, you like Harry Potter?" Like, it's one thing to just not have an opinion about it, but like at 35, like you're a balding 35-year-old building like manufacturing production equipment, and you have opinions about Harry Potter, like the book series, not the author, but like
yeah, that's where I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna be like, because fuck JK.
Oh yeah, absolutely, fuck her.
But you're more just like, fucking grow up, dude.
Yeah, you fucking
you
dork.
You a little Quidditch nerd, like you're.
Well, you're like referencing Lord of the Rings all of the time, and there's so much fucking space between this shit ass garbage book that was written in the 2000s, like as like a gimmick, and then Tolkien, right? And it's just like, you only have opinions on those two fantasy novels. Like, that's all you have to talk about. Like, you're a dork. You're not even a nerd because you don't have anything else going on. It's just those two things. And
are you just kind of razzing him, or are you seriously like? He's like, I wanted to share my like cute nerd side. You're like, you fucking loser.
You fucking dork. I hope you fall down. Yes, and like I am just razzing him a little bit, but
I find
like,
it almost kind of adorable that he's like, you know, into Harry Potter. I mean, like, if you're gonna be like a toxic incel dude, aren't you kind of like, you're not gonna be like into Harry Potter?
No, they are. It's to own the libs.
Gay to be into Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
you know?
most of incel culture is like pretty gay. You know what I mean? Like the homoeroticism of it. Like, they only care about the opinions of other men. They only want to look aesthetically in the way that other men like. They don't care about women or their opinions. And what women find attractive, they argue about. Where they're like, you don't like dudes that look like this. You like dudes that look like this. And it's like, no, you like dudes that look like this. Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched like the little Manosphere documentary recently. And I was just like, oh my God. I don't even know if I wish I hadn't watched it or not. I'm like, that's so sad and terrifying. I mean, I still think that's just a small thing. I think there's an equally big, like, it's okay to be gay and trans thing happening now too. It's just like the two sides. It's just all these things come up, and there has to be some opposite dark side to every step forward.
It's definitely in response to like being more open, because masculinity, just like the gender binary in general, is a cage that you have to stay in order for that binary system to function. And if you leave that in any direction, or even just no direction, and you're like, I don't want any of this, then other people who are locked in the cage that have the key in their hand are like, no, you don't get to leave the cage. And so instead of exploring their own stuff, they want to put you back in the cage, which is why they hate trans people, and they hate queer people, and they hate gender nonconforming people. And that's why they're so stuck on this, like, they, them, that's a plural, that's not a singular. It's like, you've never cared about correct grammar in your entire life until this moment.
Yeah, that is a weird time to get, like, say plural. Yeah.
Spell plural. Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just accelerating. Like, I mean, because it's like that whole idea of like you're born this way and you're in this group. I mean, that is kind of the way we've done it, like in most of the world for most of time, right? No, you don't know.
No.
Okay.
Christianity specifically invented the gender binary as we understand it. So like modern civilization is predicated on like Christian imperialism, essentially, right? Like, nations become Christian, they expand their influence and reach through missionary functions, and then you have stuff like Mormons and all of these like new religious sects that are like offshoots and like prophets of God and like doomsday churches and things like that. But pre-Christianity, almost every generally indigenous culture had some sort of gender expression deviation that they had language for specifically. So you had a lot of Eastern European people where a woman didn't want to get married, didn't left her husband, was widowed, whatever, she could dress and live as a man and take a wife and be the breadwinner for her family. And like there was language for that. And same with a lot of indigenous cultures, like Aboriginal people in Australia. They have third and fourth gender representation that they still acknowledge to this day. In India, depending on what sect of Hinduism, there are 34 gender identities that a person could identify with, because all of their gods are either transgender or gender fluid. The Nordic people, same thing. You could live and dress as the opposite gender. And while a lot of those cultures still had binary understandings of how gender functioned within society, you could switch. You could be like, I want to wear pants forever and like have a wife, and they would be like, that's cool, you're this thing now. And it was still being labeled and you were still being restricted to like some degree. But like the Mexica people, like indigenous to like what pre-Mexico, they had a bunch of gender identities where you could live as one or the other, or a secret third thing. And then you've got some indigenous cultures here in North America, and it's only a couple, so like please don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely certain which ones there are, but the concept of two-spirit, which is where both feminine and masculine identities live inside you, and so your gender expression is contingent on how you choose.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I've always felt,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like rock and roll to me, appealed to me, because it was like very... androgyny was...
I think most people...
the feminine, and when I say the feminine, I just mean like the ideals that we ascribe, being vulnerable, being like creative.
I think one of the things that cracks me up the most about gender identity currently is that makeup, high heels, and wigs are feminine. They're ascribed to women. Those were made for men and were considered hyper masculine during the time of their inception. And then the follow-up to that is women started to seek to participate in those rituals and behaviors, and it became inherently feminine because womanhood and femininity is a miasma that like anytime we touch the thing, you become less masculine. And so one of the reasons why alpha male stuff is so homoerotic is that to desire a woman, to be touched by a woman, is to be made more feminine.
Yeah. I mean, that like, yeah, I mean, I remember like, this was like years ago, but I was like friends with some gay, like older gay dudes, and they were like, this fucking being with a lady, that's gay, like if you're a real man, you're gonna fucking get a hard dick, I was like, wow, that actually does make sense.
Yeah.
It's like actually like way more
fellas, is it gay is it gay to wash your asshole? That's a man touching your asshole.
Yeah.
Like, is it gay to fuck a lady? She fucked other dudes, that's gay.
So that's interesting. So it's like, by that, it's like, well, we're still like in the dominant culture that we've been in for like a while has been like, there's gender, there's these two genders, and there's these roles, and that's, it's, to me, I've never really felt like you have to do something just because it's what's been done. But I guess a lot of people feel like, not a lot of, I don't know how many people, but it's like, it's very threatening.
Yeah.
To like, I don't even know what it's threatening to. I mean, I guess your secret gayness inside is like the most obvious thing.
Yeah, well,
that you
it's...
can't confront.
Well,
but it's like, if the world's going gay, just confront it. Like, what?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. Like, that's always the thing that cracks me up about it too, is they're like, I don't mind the gays, but they better not hit on me. And it's like, you don't think very highly of yourself. You think you must be really hot in the gay community to just assume that like his type is dick and yours is one of those. Like,
yeah.
But on top of that too, like the cage is made of aluminum and everyone holds the key to it. But the destabilization, I'm going to sound like a really annoying short bang person when I say this, but it all comes down to capitalism and white supremacy and the economic systems that prop those two things up, because they all function together symbiotically. But when people talk about making America great again, they're talking about 1950s America. We're talking about white domesticity, where mom stays home and raises the children in a full dress and makeup and heels clicking around, and husband just goes to work and then comes home and he gets to leave early on Fridays.
And we
he's
just beat
having
the Nazis, by the way.
Yeah.
That was part of it too. We beat them.
Well, also, we were leaving the Jim Crow era and domestic servitude. These black women were making fractions of pennies on the dollar to raise these white children, to cook these white meals, to raise up these white households into a level of stability where mom could prance around the house in heels. And so losing that means destabilizing the central theme of masculinity, which is I'm the breadwinner and I go to my jobby job and then I come home after 40 hours and I have a high noon when I get home because my wife's waiting on me, but without limited compensation to zero compensation black labor. That idea of masculinity ceases to exist because now you have to have two parents working in the household because you don't have a black woman raising your children for you for 50 cents a day anymore. Now you have to compensate her fairly, or she doesn't have to work for you because she can go get a regular job.
Yeah.
And we lost that, and that masculinity and that femininity, the space between those two identities started to get smaller and smaller until they started overlapping. And so the way that the white supremacist mindset is well, if black women would just get back in our houses and raise our children, then I could go back to working a 40-hour job because I'm not competing against affirmative action, and some lady and my wife could go home and dress nice and entertain me, and we could play bridge when I get home. But without that and without that function, it just doesn't work anymore. And so the masculinity on the rise, racism on the rise, and like hyper-capitalist mindsets from middle-income people who have no say in how capitalism functions are all trying to prop it up because their identity hinges on access to those things. And so now they're really mad that the rest of us are just like, I don't care, do whatever you want.
Jesus. You think we're going to be all right?
I think we're going to be fine, but I do think that we're in another kind of gilded age where poor people are just going to keep getting more poor until domestic servitude kind of comes back into fashion. We're already seeing it with like ballerina farms and Nara Smith and all that like fake trad wife content on the internet. They're running multi-million-dollar media empires, but then like they have nannies and they're pretending like they don't, which is crazy. But it goes back to that invisible labor of black women making the most great America, but nobody's paying attention to them. They're the invisible labor that props up the upward mobility of the middle class for white people. And we're seeing that again, like in ways where it's like not immediately obvious, but the trend is like moving towards it because 9 of the 10 wealthiest people in the world are in America. 8 of them are American citizens born and raised here. But the poorest people are poorer generally than the poorest people in comparable nations, to the degree that like our homelessness percentage is almost 300 times what it is in other developed nations.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. I mean, that's very sad. And it's very visible. I love
being a buzzkill. I don't love it. It's unintentional, but like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. You know, it's I don't know. I mean, I struggle with just like paralysis of trying to, not to mention like the environment. You know, that's big on my list too. Where it's just like it's just a doom spiral for me. Where it's like I don't know.
I spend a little time being hyper fixated on these things, but then do you want to hear my opinions on Benson Boone and Crumble Cookie?
Sure.
So Benson Boone's a Mormon, and like, have you ever noticed that he does like a lot of flips and stuff?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Benson Boone is?
No, I know very little about what goes on.
He had a really popular song
recently.
Yeah. He said a couple. Do you remember that really dumb song that came out not long ago where it's like Moonbeam Ice Cream?
No.
Taking off your blue jeans. Do you know what Crumble Cookie is? Wow. So just so everyone knows, he crawled out from underneath a rock when he came to greet me to put me in the shed so he could do this.
It's well known if you listen to many of these that I sort of do live under a rock. That's
okay. Okay.
Part of it's for mental health reasons. But
Benson Boone has had a net negative impact on my mental health. How much you know about Mormons?
I know some things about Mormons.
Okay.
But I don't know all things about Mormons.
Do you know how Mormonism came to be?
Well, the Son of God came another time and came here to America.
So kind of. There was no another time. This all happened all at the same time, where Jesus and the Romans fought the native peoples here in that time period somehow.
I thought
The Garden of Eden's in Missouri. Okay.
I thought it was just like Jesus was like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. That's what he's saying. So Joseph Smith was a con man, and he had rich people pay him to find treasure. And so he would like go dig around in the bushes and like outside and like dig up little holes, and he'd be like, I found your treasure, whatever, right? 'Cause he's psychic. And while he's digging around the bushes, he finds these gold tablets.
Like iPads or?
Yes, obviously. No. Like the things that the Ten Commandments are written on, except for they're solid gold, because famously Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit all very much care about gold. But it's a thing that's very high on their list of really important aspects of the religion. But so this is the extended work of God, which becomes the Book of Mormon because it's written in an angelic language that nobody else can read because his girlfriend's from Canada. You wouldn't know her, actually. So he translates these into the Book of Mormon. And then the angels are like, whoa, dude, nobody else is allowed to touch these golden tablets except for you because you're super holy, because you are the next Messiah. You're the next prophet. So, you're the only one that can have these golden tablets. So the angels came down and took the golden tablets. So nobody can see them, actually, but he swears they're real, and he wrote it down. And then he's got a buddy named Brigham Young that also saw the tablets, and he was like, yeah, for sure, there were golden tablets. I couldn't read them because I can't read this special language because my buddy Joseph over here is the prophet. Then stuff really goes off the rails. He starts forming militias. He starts taking over towns. He starts talking about God coming down and talking to him about marrying 15-year-old girls. He's the head of the church, so he's like marrying these 15-year-olds that he's groomed to men that he then sends on mission trips to Africa in the like late 1800s. You're not coming back from that. He knocks them up. He's like, oh, it's God making her pregnant, not me, for sure. He's like 47 wives, like, for sure, that we know of.
Like, that's a lot.
So then the other Mormons, after they've taken this militia and taken over this town, they're like, hey, dude, this is crazy. We're actually not with this anymore. So they write a book. And in response, he uses the militia to destroy the printing press that the book is printed on, because it's a book about what a douchebag this guy is. And the federal government's been looking for a reason to murder Joseph Smith because they hate him. You can't have a standing army. We have a standing army. Absolutely not. So they go in, they take over the town. They get him into custody. They put him in a jail. The mob starts because everybody's realizing, oh, hey, all these like miraculous pregnancies are actually this guy and not God. And that is gross and we hate it. So they storm the jail, and he goes to jump out the window, and he's like, oh, I'm going to get away. Somebody shoots him as he's falling out the window. And that's how the Mormon church's inception like happens from start to finish. And so people were like, no, this is cool. I like this. And they stuck with it.
Mormonism, they like that.
Yeah, they were like, for sure. So follow that up. We're here now. The Garden of Eden is in Missouri, and Zion is in Salt Lake City, Utah, right? Like, okay, sure.
I think they're just real organized, and people like to be a part of a thing, I think that's a big part of it, is like most people are very lonely. We're all very lonely, but the Mormons have like a lot of like events.
They do, which is like, why they're really into shiny clothes and doing backflips.
Yeah, they have like good haircuts, or I don't know, but not good, but like necessarily, but there's like a very like, I think there's something going on with the Mormons that's different when it comes to the haircuts.
I think that because
I had a really good friend in high school who was Mormon, and he was so cool, and then it was kind of like right at that age where I didn't really understand, that we probably couldn't stay close friends because of that. But they would go to, there's like some Mormons in my town, and they would like go to school before our school.
Jesus school.
And they were like, don't worry about it. We were just at the 5 a.m. school. And he was real funny, and we would watch The Simpsons together and laugh at like,
whoa, he was allowed to watch
humor.
The Simpsons?
Yeah, that's crazy. And he was just very, and their music, but then I go over to his house, and like all his sisters would have like long skirts on.
Puffy
we haven't
hair.
kept in touch. It's kind of a shame, Steve, because like he was such a lovely friend, but it was like kind of like right at that age where like I think it was like, all right, you gotta stop hanging out with. then I got another
worldly
friend.
guy.
I got another friend I grew up with who became Mormon later,
converts.
and he's always like whenever I post like a video or a reel, he's always like, I loved that. He has these like very specific compliments. He's so nice, and like I was talking to his brother, I was like, man, Eric's always just so nice online. He's just gonna try to convert you to Mormonism.
It is a facet of their religion.
I felt so dumb. I was like, I thought he was just loved every song I wrote and all my jokes, the clean ones. And he was like, he's just buttering you up. Like he's doing this and he's waiting and he's going to get you. And I was like, man, that makes so much sense. He doesn't like my songs.
He hates me. It's called white and delightsome. There's a facet of their religion that requires to them to be super polite to people and to maintain what they call their countenance, which is their like physical appearance.
Yeah.
And
the
it's
haircuts I was talking about.
When they go to heaven, God bleaches their skin and everyone is white in heaven. So it's called white and delightsome. So
yikes. I was gonna make a joke about that. I was like, I don't even know if I need to. Yeah, he was saying like, cause my other friend, the brother of the guy that's gone Mormon, he's got the mom Mormon now, and he's like, he's just ready, And he was saying like they'll go around the doors and they'll be like, your lawn looks like it needs a mowing. And it was like, yeah, what's it to you, Mormon? It's like, I could mow it for you, and then they'll just like get the mower, start mowing the lawn, You're sitting there like trying to be like, these damn Mormons. Man, the lawn's looking pretty good. Like...
All right, I'll go to church with you.
Yeah, like, they're going to get some people. Because, like, the guy with the lawn, he's alone,
Yeah. Oh, and that's how it functions.
His, like, beautiful haircuts and his lawn's looking good. He's like, I don't know.
I really want to know what your fascination with his haircuts is. Like, I don't know what a Mormon haircut is, but I'm so fascinated.
I feel like if you're in a cult, you shouldn't be fashionable. And, like, if you're, like, fit... with like a recently like lined up haircut and you have like a good outfit on, like to me that just really fucks with my brain because like growing up with like the Baptists and all, like it was like you could spot them because their fashion was noticeably bad.
Yeah, New Balances, men and women, and those like grass stained New Balances and jorts.
Yeah, hey, what's wrong with New Balances and jorts? That's what I wear. That's what I usually wear.
Are those corduroy cutoffs?
They are. They're corduroy cutoffs.
You're so Asheville.
Yeah. Sometimes I roll them up when I'm, trying to look nice. So you can't see the frayed parts. But
those are your going out. I don't cutoffs.
I mean, you don't wear cutoffs?
I do, but it was hot. I'm wearing running shorts right now, but my shirt's too long. You can't see it. No, I wear jorts a lot.
But you never catch a Mormon in an outfit like this.
Are you like, I'm starting to feel like this podcast is just a way to get people into your shed so that you can lock the door and be like, have you heard the good word of the Book of Mormon?
Gold tablets.
You are white and delightsome.
Do I have a Mormon vibe? Don't answer that. I really didn't care for the hesitation.
No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't imagine anyone less Mormon than you.
I mean, I went to a really wonderful church growing up. I went to a Methodist church.
Hell yeah.
And as soon as I turned 18, I've not been back a single time, nor will I. But they were like, it was in the 90s, there's like a gay guy that came and talked. And he was like, I'm a gay Christian. And they were like, that's fine.
Hell yeah.
And then they were like, Buddhists are cool too because it's like a different way to God. And that was just always like kind of, I was like, then later in life, I'm like, wow, that was like really actually pretty crazy progressive for like Tennessee and the South at that time. I didn't even realize that it was.
The Methodist churches in and around Asheville, like I go to a food bank that is run by a Methodist church. And so it has the parish house on the property. And the whole church and property are owned by the pastoral family. It just worked out that way. It's not like nepotism or anything. But the house that they grew up in is the parish house. And he was like, hey, I think this would be better served to serve the community. So he moved out. So he pays all of his own bills as just the pastor of this giant Methodist church. They run a food pantry and they run like a laptop charging and like employment thing. They also do like home goods and clothing and interview practice, and they help people like reintegrate into society after long-term houselessness. Like, they do a lot of really, really cool shit. It's the only thing of its kind in all of Asheville, like even in secular spaces. It's also a Methodist church, and they're phenomenal people.
Yeah, like, I mean, they were never, my church was never like, you should be ashamed, you might go to hell. Or don't leave. They would never, it was none of that like cult. It was just like, I just left. I was like, I'm never ever getting up that early again on a Sunday. And they were like, that's fine, goodbye. Like, it was like there wasn't any trick, you know. They weren't trying to like get you to join it. And I mean, I don't know, I've thought a lot about like the experiences I had, and I sometimes feel like, you know, my kids don't go to church, and we did like help the community. We did like certain things that my kids aren't exposed to. So sometimes I feel bad about it. And yeah, if you're picking up on like a Mormon vibe, I think it's like, I do like it. It makes me sad that like words like God and prayer like are kind of like dirty words, you know, in Asheville and in like the circles that I run in, because I think those things should belong to all of us, you know. And it makes me sad that like those words are so loaded now.
Yeah.
Because I think like God is just, you know, the thing that we're all connected at that level, and prayer is just like trying to say your intentions out loud. And and those are good concepts that can help things, but there's just like so much. People have co-opted those concepts and run them into the ground.
I think of religion like a knife, or not even religion, but like the concept of God like a knife. Like, it has uses that make your life better, but then also it's most often used to wound people. And so, like, when you put the knife in your pocket and you're carrying it around with you, like, is it worth it to have the knife if it turns back on you? Do you know what I mean? And so, like, some people put it down forever, but I think a lot of people recycle the concept into language that, like, makes sense to them, like manifestation and spirituality and the universe that's God.
And then in Asheville, those words are kind of, like, co-opted, too, because I like those concepts, too, but then it's like, you know...
Shut up.
You hate hippies, you know. And I actually, like, when I moved to I moved here in like 2002, and it was all that kind of shit, and I hated it, you know. And then it's like, now I go to West Asheville, and I'm like, I kind of miss the hippies, you know. Like, I don't know what this Brooklyn hipster, they don't even like updated language for what it is, but I'm like, I don't understand it. I kind of miss the hippies, honestly.
It's yuppies.
Yeah.
It's yuppies. So in 2021,
love the odd, by the way.
No, yeah. Well, I still love West Asheville entirely, but I was in.
Certainly not because I'm becoming an old man and I don't understand it anymore. It's because things are wrong.
Old man yells at clouds. But no. I was in Battle Cat, and a lady with a dual jogging stroller and a labradoodle, like a purebred labradoodle, in probably $1,000 worth of Lululemon gear, just brought her whole jogging stroller and her whole big ass dog into Battle Cat during like peak busy, like 10 a.m. on a Sunday, and the dog shit in the floor, and she just like looked around for somebody else to pick it up.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you bought a house right around the corner recently, didn't you? Like, can you just go back to where you're from? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not anti tourist, I'm not anti like move here to find yourself, because that's how Asheville has been for a really long time, but I am anti, my husband and I are 2.5 children, bought a starter home in West Asheville, we're gonna flip it and sell it, and it's like, I hope you fall into the river with all the poop in it. It
makes me sad too, that I think we've really lost our way by cramming the hotels and the tiny apartments in, because it used to be like when I moved here, I worked at the Mellow Mushroom, and we had a little apartment downtown for like $400 a month, and it's like that Asheville is gone now, you know. I think that's happening in a lot of places, but I want to stay here, you know. It's very interesting, and my kids are growing up in this culture, you know. Like all my their friends are all like, you know, changing their pronouns every day and stuff like that, so it's like really interesting. Could not be more different than
I love it, and
what it was.
I know. I was thinking about this too. My son, his friends are all like that too, but Ringo's not. Like, Ringo is just kind of nebulous, like doing whatever. But they were making a bunch of ironic jokes, and it was like a bunch of queer kids and kids of color, but they were like telling some like pretty like racy jokes, and I was like, you're totally allowed to do that. But if you made that joke in a room full of Nazis and they all laughed at it, then like, what does the ironic or satirical nature of that joke matter anymore? I was like, you have to pay attention to the audience that you're performing for. So if it's you and your friends and you make those jokes in an insulated environment or just around each other, that's fine. That's cool. But if you go outside and you make those jokes, then what? And like, all of his friends, because I did it to all of them. You know, I stopped them in the middle of that because they were calling each other slurs, but it was like two gay people doing it back and forth. And I was like, hey, that's cool and fine and funny and hilarious, but we should probably still talk about it. And all of those kids think I'm really cool because they're all taller than me. And
they think you're cool because they're taller than you?
They're like, oh, you're one of us. And I'm not. And I just, so like sometimes when the mom comes out and I'm like, hey, let me be like a blue hair short bang for a second and like be really annoying mom. They're like jarred by it. And then they want to talk about it and they want to dissect it. And they're like, okay, why do you think that? And like having these like really interesting conversations with these kids who are, they're not tied down to an identity. They're not tied down to gender expression or sexual orientation or anything. They're just doing whatever. And then having like a serious conversation with them to like further expound on that and be like pinpointing aspects of an identity that makes sense to like the larger population. And they're funny. Like, I'm getting roasted where they're like, you're very angry for someone of your size, you know? And meanwhile, I'm like, so anyway, let's talk about the importance of satire and its function in conversation. And like, they're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, context is everything, like who it's for. I mean, that's why I love that we have the odd, I mean, and disclaimer, but like I was trying to do some bits on like living with ladies on their periods. And I was like, you know, I have to definitely try this at the odd first. It has to like pass the odd, you know, like I don't want to, like, I'm not going to go to some, one of the Nazi rooms that I do, you know.
One of the Mormon rooms I go to.
I have done Mormon rooms, but yeah, it's like, but every joke I did in the Mormon room started at the odd. For whatever that means. You know, I didn't just get up at the Mormon room and be like, oh shit, I guess I'll just go a little more this direction. And some of that's not even, I didn't even plan that. It's just that the odd is the room that has been here the longest. I knew Tom Peters from music before comedy. So it's kind of like been a cool gift. And as I get more old, like the odd just somehow stays. Like I hope it's always there, and I hope it always feels that way. It's very special. I think
the comedy scene needs to participate with the odd more and like engage with it more. I think the last couple of hosts just really got burnt out, and it's not cycling fast enough. I think hosts. Yeah, I think Tom Peters was like really passionate about it, and he literally like strangleholds, like kept it alive, like white knuckle grip sometimes.
And James Harrod pretty much ruined the whole thing there for. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think he ruined it, but I think that you can tell when somebody's like burnt out on what's happening around them.
Yeah.
And the enthusiasm like wanes, and that's through no fault of their own. Like there's nothing wrong with it, but we're not cycling hosts fast enough, I think, and people are getting really burnt out. But then too, like the answer to that is more people hosting more consistently.
Yeah.
But
I mean, to me, I feel like it's in its prime right now. As far as like, I don't know about the business and how I don't know how any business like keeps the utilities and the rent open. Least of all a place that cool and that like punk commune ish. But I feel like because James moved and then Julia took it up, but then she shares it with a group of hosts, and to me that feels like really, it feels like it's fully alive and formed right now. Yeah, it
absolutely is. But there's definitely like a moment where it's like each one of them has hosted another mic that week, and they're all tired, and now they're like drawing straws as to like who does it on Tuesday.
Alex looked real tired last Tuesday.
Alex looked amazing and not tired at all, and beautiful and wonderful, and his butt looked great. And I can't believe you said that, Ryan Cox.
All those things and tired, but definitely I don't know if I should comment on his ass, but I mean, yeah, lovely, beautiful
I think he would
man.
love that.
But I remember he was just like, I'm tired, you know. I had to, I don't know. If you've made it this far into the podcast, good Lord. Like, yeah, he's a mortal man. Like, he was tired. And then I think he was, like, hosting the next night at Third Room or something like that. So it is, yeah, it's good to have support and help for the hosts. What was up with like the years where you would still come out to the odd sometimes, but you were like not performing? What was that? What was going on with you during that time?
How depressing do you want to get on it?
I don't know. I mean,
what's your threshold for sadness? Off and on homelessness and like just trying to get my life figured out.
Homelessness?
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my kid and I were homeless together like a number of times. Like I moved to Charleston one time because through a series of shitty events in my life, like I had a roommate that sucked really bad. She started dating my boyfriend's roommate so that I couldn't get away from her because she wanted to spend time with me, and like the more I resisted, the more she wanted. And then she moved out like unceremoniously, and then Arden moved in with me because Arden and I were friends from back home in South Carolina. And then
oh really, y'all knew each other before?
Yeah, we've known each other since like 2012.
Asheville. Okay, crazy.
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yep. Actually before that, I think before I even moved to Asheville ever. So like 2012, 2011, because Ringo was like a baby. But my brain just completely shut off, like the Windows reboot just happened in my head.
I didn't know that was going on with you, and I remember just seeing you like sometimes at the odd. Like I guess maybe you started going up regularly again in the last few years. I would say I don't know. Time just kind of, but yeah, I remember being like, oh, Bear's here, but you're not gonna go up. You're just kind of.
Yeah, I kind
of wish we gotten to hear the homeless set now. That would have been like.
That's just depressing, though. It's just depressing because it's like the things that I can find funny about it and like the intimate relationships where I can make kind of dark jokes, like don't work on a crowd of people that don't know you well enough to know that you're like okay with what's happened, and like finding the levity in that is.
So you do care about that then, because I wouldn't have known that you even give a shit if like I feel like your stage persona, your energy to me is like.
I don't care if you like my joke or not.
Yeah, I think that
I'm gonna choose to take that as a compliment.
Well, yeah, that's a good.
I care about it insofar as I don't want to ruin the experience for other comedians. I'm not gonna name names, but there's a comic in the scene that I genuinely just doesn't care if his set is so bad that he walks people, and like. He will even sometimes like make reference where he'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do a really bad one tonight, guys, or like I'm gonna really stick it to him, and doesn't care, and so everybody after him suffers.
Yeah, and that's a careful thing, because I think like I think you can still be a great comedian and not give a shit if they like you or not. Like that can be funny.
Yes.
But I mean, it can also be not good to be like, I'm gonna ruin the show. I don't give a shit. I
don't give a shit. I just don't want to bum everybody out to the degree that they're like introspection, thinking about single moms experiencing homelessness, like instead of paying attention, especially at mics where there's not a huge audience, because trying to get back 5 people that are really sad for no reason all of a sudden is a lot harder than like 5 people in an audience of 30 are like a little bummed out. You know what I mean? Because I do talk about like heavier material, and I don't care if they like me as a person, but I do care if the impact that I'm having on the audience is going to negatively impact everybody after me. Like I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want that either. But it is like a place to experiment, and I think it happens, and that's okay too.
Have you seen my new stuff?
Yeah.
My like new in the last couple weeks?
I mean, I've seen you sometime in the last few weeks. I don't know.
I've been taking a little bit of a break. I've basically
and this summer's been crazy, but I've seen you like several times over the last few months at the Odd or Third Room.
Yeah, so I've been trying to work on a tight 30 about just abortion material.
Yeah, I've heard some abortion material. Yeah,
but now I have a new bit.
And it doesn't feel like you're like, I need these people to like me.
Yeah,
That's do. That's not the vibe.
Yeah, I don't need them to like me.
Material.
It actually kind of works better for that material if they don't like me.
Yeah.
If they make assumptions about me and then I confirm them on stage, I think that's part of it. Where it's like, I'm a baby killer. What of it? You know?
I'm gonna get you next.
Yeah. You got any kids? I'll be there. We're getting it. But it's like playing into the stereotype. You know what I mean? I used to do a lot more bits about being asexual, but it derails so much of what comes after, where it's like people want an explanation. They want context for that, especially followed up by like, and then I had 3 abortions. And it's like...
Yeah, when you just said it, I was like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It does kind of make you go.
It's really hard.
And maybe that's like, there's just some things you don't want to talk about or whatever. Like, you don't need to talk about. I mean, that's the vulnerability in modern stand-up. It's like, well, you don't have to. Sometimes it's nice to see, so like Isaac will just do jokes, like just silly jokes. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to you don't have to talk about your deepest, darkest secrets. I mean, that can be amazing, but there's just different ways to do it.
There's also just, it's really hard to like contextualize how complicated a human life and a human identity can be within the framework of the mistakes that we make that are often the funniest things about us, right? Like my abortion material is funny because it's incidental to who I am as a person that I had abortions, but fundamental to who I am as a person that I talk about it, right? Because like 40% of AFAB people have had abortions in their life.
Yeah, man, that to me, that's the funny part, is that it's like, you're kind of it almost feels like you're like, I'm trying to get some more, man. Like, you know, like, which is just like, it's kind of the opposite of like, you're either like anti, or you've had them and you're not trying to get up and be like, you know, it's almost like you're a secret or something. So there's something about that's kind of a joke or.
Yeah, well, I want to destigmatize it, right? If more people talked about the experiences they had, like the real experiences they had, even from a place of like, kind of like, you know, poking at it, I think people would be healthier and more functional and less terrified of everything they don't understand about the world, because they would realize that everybody's just kind of doing whatever and nobody has it figured out, but that everybody fucks up or does weird, bad shit, or that like people that do things that you don't agree with aren't monsters, you know? And like there's...
Yeah, I mean, that's it for me. It's like, I've never been able to understand how you should be like, everybody else should feel the way I do. I'm even about like Creed, like a band or something. It's like, you know, I don't need, What is that?
You said Creed.
Do you have a Creed tattoo?
I have a Creed tattoo.
I did not know that was it. What does it say?
Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge. And
Are you an
I'm
unashamed
thinking.
Creed fan?
I do not feel any joy from a place of guilt. I do not have guilty pleasures. I like what I like. I don't have shame.
No, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever noticed. I don't get embarrassed very easily.
Yeah.
Like,
but like that was my point. It's like, I don't need my tastes to be other people's tastes. Like I just cannot relate to that at all. Where it's like, it's wrong to like something, you know?
Except for like Mein Kampf. Like if you're like, I love this book, it's a good read, I'd be like, gross, get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I could see you being like,
it's just really well written.
It's interesting to read it.
Yeah.
I could see you being like, it's interesting to read it because it's like, what the hell's going on here? You know? Yeah.
I have read the Book of Mormon, which feels like a comparable situation, but like there's a difference.
All of it?
Yeah, the Book of Mormon's not long.
Yeah.
No, it's not long.
That's good.
It's just like some dude was like, I got a lot of thoughts and feelings about the Bible, I can make this better, and then just wrote it down, and people were like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like the Goo Goo Dolls.
I also like the Goo Goo Dolls. I had a Honda Civic with underglow. And it was a 96 Civic Coupe EX with a VTEC, and it was a manual, and it had underglow, and I had ripped both the front and back bumper skirt off from parking too close to the like parking stoppers, so just like ripping the little under skirt off, and so I duct taped it with bright orange duct tape back, and it didn't have a central horn. It had 2 buttons, which were very popular in the 90s, and I would machine gun honk at people, and I was just the most annoying person on the planet. I had 2 15-inch subwoofers in my trunk and like tweeters in the car, so that like it was so loud. Like if you opened the trunk and parked the car and played music, it would bounce so hard that the trunk would close. Like I was annoying.
Yeah.
But I loved like my two big ones are like bass music that could really like ruin people's day, or the Goo Goo Dolls, or James Blunt. Like, that's another one. Could you imagine me driving by in that car with my windows down, like, "You're beautiful"?
I'll know who James Blunt is.
I just sang the song. You don't know that song? Okay, that's from the 2000s. That's not even like recent.
Yeah. I mean, I even growing up, I didn't really like.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like how you're like, oh, I like the Goo Goo Dolls. Most mainstream band of all time for like a solid 5 years.
Well, I was trying to match the Creed energy, because to me that's my Creed, where it's like I was in bands for a long time, and it's like you're supposed to like obscure, snobby things.
And I do.
And I do too. And but also like John Mellencamp and the Goo Goo Dolls. There's things that I would be like, I felt like I had to hide them from my cool friends, you know, as a teenager. And now I'm like, what's the big? I feel like that's not even a thing as much now. Like,
I don't think so either.
Like, kids now, it's like just it's fine to.
I don't think kids now even like really care about pop music the same way that they did before, where like it's like, oh, you don't know this band? It's like, no, because we all listen to Spotify. So like I listened to an album drop at midnight that came out by an artist that's had 2 EPs that he made in his basement that are called like Butt Chug and I Love My Girlfriend So Much, and he's done making music now because that's his magnum opus.
Is that a real Butt Chug?
No, I just was like, I was just making stuff up because I was into punk music as a kid, and my son recently was like, have you ever heard of Operation Ivy? And I was like, no, tell me more.
We were just listening to that recently with our kids. I try to sort of educate them, but then I also am conscious of being like, let me explain me, you know, like
dad-splaining.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm doing that, but like, yeah, I probably am. I don't know. It's probably fine to do some of it. Jesus Christ, how good of a person you gotta be? How fucking
the bar is too high. No, it's okay. I'd be mansplaining stuff to my kids sometimes because, like, the context for how you understand something like changes as generations change, because it exists within the context of the way that it is perceived, less so than the way that it's explained. And so like Ringo and I were talking about punk music, and he was like listing all these bands, and I was like, yeah, I like some of those bands, but this band they're from is whatever. And he was like, yeah, there's not really a lot of punk music that I can listen to comfortably because so many of these men are awful. And I was like, that would not have occurred to me at 15 to be like, oh, I can't listen to my screamy punk rock about throwing up in somebody else's mouth because the front man, like, you know, is MAGA or whatever. But like
those punk bands, some of those guys are MAGA now.
Yeah, Sid Vicious is super MAGA. The guy from the Descendants is super MAGA.
I mean, I can separate it pretty good, you know. Like, I mean, like I still listen to the Smiths, like, you know. I still listen to Michael Jackson. Like that, those Thriller was a really important part of my childhood, and I love those songs. I don't know, like I don't. It's different. It's like horrible person did horrible things. Like you can't let him do like one. There's one thing he could do good. It's like no, that everything was bad. It's like
I think as long as the artist is dead, it's fine. But if your participation in the thing contributes, like Harry Potter stuff, like I'll never purchase anything Harry Potter, I'll never introduce anybody to Harry Potter, but that's because J.K. Rowling is alive and I'm helping
fund. Books aren't even good. This is long-winded bullshit. You ever try to read like the 4th Harry Potter?
They're
it's like
so bad.
Oh my god!
Like I hated them as a kid.
Describe the fairgrounds in great detail for the next 60 pages. Like get to the fucking point, J.K.
Well, and not even in like a Tolkien way where it's like good and fun and you're learning things and there's world building. She's just like, and the goblins are Jews and also Chang Cho. You know, like you took a long way around to tell me nothing. It's corporate speak all over again. It's like there's a lot of words, says nothing. I understand less about what's happening than I did before all of those words.
Yeah, it's relatable. We've had our time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's like kind of a good like last thought, like, you know.
Fuck J.K. Rowling. Fuck Harry Potter.
Less. No. Like I understand less than I did before I heard all those words.
I'm really good at that.
That's like, you know, let me just explain this to you, and then you're like, Jesus Christ, I know less now somehow.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a certified yapper, and like.
But this is like to me, like, that's what comedy, like, it does. You don't need to, you can go learn any skill. Like, if you don't, it's kind of funny sometimes to know less after a thing. I mean, it doesn't, like, the purpose of this podcast isn't to educate anyone.
I fucking hope not. Could you imagine being like, and this archived podcast, Bear Hicks and Ryan Cox talk about Mormons. Let's learn more.
I mean, I almost think, like, I almost look at this podcast like, you know, someday you might be like an old lady. She, her pronouns, right?
She, they.
You might be an old they, them person. And, you know, this is like, are there any other, like, documents of you, like, just speaking off the cuff, long form, sharing your thoughts? And, like, it's cool just in that way.
I love it. I
like,
do. I love it. I'm going to sound so crazy. I listen to the podcasts. I listen to them over and over again because I'm like, I care about how I come across and how I'm able to convey stuff. And so when I do a podcast, I listen to it again and I'm like, God, like, I could have better explained this, or like this could have been more concise.
Oh yeah, same.
I'm workshopping.
Yeah, I mean, and I've like done it enough to where I'm kind of like desensitized myself to that, but don't worry about it. I mean, it was good. It's like every now and then someone would be like, oh, you gotta like delete it. It's like, no, just let it.
Oh no, I'll never ask you to delete it. Yeah. There's evidence of crimes I've committed on podcasts that I did when I was in my early 20s.
But nobody listens to it anyway. This is not a successful podcast.
Nobody gives a shit.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's what is interesting about it. Is it's raw, it's long form, it's uncut. It's kind of like it's
that's
like
my preference.
It's like the dick, you know. I don't know.
You had to say the thing,
yeah,
to make sure that we knew. That's what you were.
I was like, there's no subtlety on here. Everyone totally knew. Yeah. All right. Well, Bear Hicks, thanks for coming on the podcast. Love your name, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
All right.